seen Nemesis and Nuke Duck pull it out into the mid lane. It's also gaining popularity over in the LCK. So we can't just say that for sure this is going to be Cabo's champion. I have noticed that on Vitality that Saken doesn't seem to have the widest champion pool. He really finds his comfort on things like that Cassiopeia. So I'm still erring onto the side that this is probably Cabo's pick, but we'll hold our breath until we see more into the draft.
I wonder how much Vitality can actually play around Cabochard if he's on the Ornn. He's not really a champion you need to get ahead in lane, not really someone you want to get snowballing. Schalke deciding that Innaxe will pilot Aphelios. So far he's played Xayah and Ezreal. And so another new champion in his repertoire, but everyone plays Aphelios these days. And there's the Aatrox that you talked about. There's Odoamne's Aatrox probably up towards the top.
Please lock in Ziggs.
I have seen some Ziggs, but instead they're going to go for another champion that starts with Z, Zoe.
Zoe Blind. We've heard so many pros talk about how frustrating Zoe is as the champion. She's been around League of Legends long enough that if you haven't found her in solo queue and she just, you know, picks up as a redemption or picks up a super soaker and just slams you in the face for RNG purposes, it's a real feels bad moment. Has great wave clear, very safe, great CC and setup for the teams. Kind of does it all.
Really does. Braum will be the final lock for Schalke. Aphelios and Braum teamed up very often across the course of the LEC so far. And now we'll see where bans go, because there's no AD carry, there's no support so far on Vitality. And Schalke say, well, we can pinch that pool just a tad, we'll get rid of the Thresh.
Maybe trying to deny more of a mid-spiking ADC. Thresh works really well with things like the Varus to help them disengage or kind of provide safety for them. For some reason, I feel like this is going to be a Varus comp, although you still have Ezreal that you can also fall back to, and Misfortune is the other big name that's still left up and available since the nerfs to Senna.
Well, Comp is one of the AD carries that has been cracking out the Varus so far. He's played 2 games of it, one of his most played alongside the Ezreal that you mentioned.
Of course, when you just stack poking options, Varus and Ezreal fit really well with Zoe and kind of the play style and how you want to play back.
Long-range poke, long-range engage, of course, with the Sleepy Trouble Bubbles and the call of the Forge God for Vitality, so would definitely fit into their composition.
And in tandem with that, you then ban Sejuani and Jarvan, not only because you are pinching the jungle pool that Schalke still have to go through, but you're also eliminating 2 really hard engaged champions, whereas you do want to play back, you do want to play more poke with a Zoe and Ezreal or a Varus. Getting rid of those 2 champions can help things a lot. So now Lee Sin with his disengage and his skirmishing should feel a lot better.
Instead of the long-range poke, though, Vitality will go for Kaisa. Second time Comp's played it. Of course, no wins on it as of yet. And we'll see where Steelback goes. So, played Pyke last week. In the 1 game he has played so far, he has a 100% loss rate on Pyke. We'll see if he decides to go for something like the Leona, or even the Morgana for a bit of disengage.
So if you haven't seen Steelback in a hot minute, since changing over into the support position over in the French League and the LFL, he has been popping off. He is a great roaming support, very heavy into the playmakers. And when I was talking to Lore, she was just basically praising and singing his compliments, and that it seems that Steelback reads the map better than a lot of the players down there and just single-handedly destroys games by being right place, right time. So a champion like Nautilus, when unlocked, can really showcase a lot of his strengths.
We'll see how safely he can roam for his team. Last week on the Pyke, he did hit a lot of skill shots early on. The Q was connecting very often in the lane, and he was constantly harassing down his opponents, but a little bit harder to do into a Braum. Of course, you can just put up the meat shield and eat a lot of that poke. Let's have a talk about what these compositions want to do, because when Vitality was starting to form up, I looked at the Zoe, I was like, okay, great poke comp, but now they've added in the Kaisa and the Nautilus, which doesn't quite fit into that meta.
You still get some poke elements, depending on what Kaisa's itemization is going to be with the W, but you are correct that it's moved more away from poke and kind of you whittle opponents down, and then when you feel comfortable, you have the engage tools in the Ornn and the Nautilus that you can pull the trigger and then look for those fights. Kaisa has slipped down in terms of ADC priority. I think it's only been 2 or 3 teams that have gone back to her, but she still packs quite a punch. It's just her range is such an issue, and that's kind of what I'm going to be watching for. When you're against a champion like Viktor and even Aatrox, Comp really needs to be on point to make sure that he doesn't put himself in danger when he's trying to lay down a lot of that damage.
Definitely feels like Vitality may be changing up their playbook. Not going to be playing around the top side of the map as much as you would expect. Schalke, on the other hand, Viktor in the mid lane, just great wave clear, good bit of poke, has a shield so can deal with a bit of Zoe's damage. Has actually gone for the heal instead of cleanse there, Abbedagge, so would have liked to see a cleanse just because it means you can get away from a Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and it's going to be very much on Lurox to try and keep his mid laner safe from the power that is Lee Sin Zoe.
Maybe just feeling confident that with the movement speed that Viktor can get off the queue, that maybe he can sidestep, get a little bit of fancy footwork. He's also got the phase rush to go along with it.
That he has. We'll see how fancy his feet are. See if he's put on his dancing shoes. Odoamne on the Aatrox in the top lane should be able to harass Cabochard pretty easily, but I've seen a lot on Twitter and I've heard a lot of people saying Ornn is busted right now, even stronger on 10.4. Oh, Cabochard, if there's a game to show up, it's this one for Vitality. Still looking for their first win in their last game of this half of the split.
So more often than not, we'll zone in on Ornn here. Ornn will go for the unsealed spellbook, especially if he's in the top lane. It just offers him so much versatility and flexibility about how he wants to play out the lane phase. And even though when you think about Ornn as a traditional tank, especially with unsealed spellbook, he can get access to things like that ignite pretty early on and then has great kill pressure, especially when you then put him in tandem with the Lee Sin. So is that we say that? Are they going to invade? Nope.
Yeah, just looking for wards. Looking to see if anything was warded so that Lurox can have a little bit more safety when he goes for his early jungle clear. Maybe looking for a steal as well, because Skeanz is going to start on the bottom side.
And then, of course, the other option that Ornn can spec into is usually Grasp of the Undying, which is what Nemesis, and I actually think Nukeduck took unsealed spellbook, so just Nemesis so far took it into the mid lane. So it's usually you take Grasp if you're in a melee matchup and you want more lane dominance, and then you take spellbook if you're in not so good of a matchup and you want a bit more flexibility and some utility on your kit.
As you said, it is the unsealed spellbook on Cabochard. Two veterans of our league clashing heads in the top lane. And you might wonder why we talk so much about Cabochard. It's because he has been a key focus for Vitality so far this split. The JPD, so that's how many more percentage points his jungler ganks him than the enemy jungler ganks the enemy top laner? Well, he's about 5% ahead on average, and even with that, he's still actually behind in gold at 15 minutes and is doing the least damage per minute of any top laner.
Basically, all these stats are saying that they give Cabochard a lot of resources, but again, if you look at the standings, he's been unable to convert on those resources. Now, usually he is playing a much more, I'm going to say, hard carry-esque champion, although Ornn obviously is getting a lot of praise globally from a lot of analysts for just everything that he brings to a team, but normally it's things like the set that Cabo has been flexing on. So we'll see if that kind of remains true when you do have Skeanz on Lee Sin, one of his bigger comfort picks. Maybe they plan to 2v2 up here and just have Cabo kind of be that big setup, but this would be a departure from what Vitality have been trying to run repeatedly, which is throw everything topside, try to get the veteran to carry us.
Hasn't been working out for them so far. Schalke on the other side picked up their first win of the split last week versus G2. We talked about how much of a morale boost that could be. Oh, that's disgusting. He literally uses heal and picks up an ignite straight away.
It's a fun champion. It's not frustrating at all.
There's a super soaker sitting there. He's literally going to walk up and ignite him in a second.
As soon as he gets into range.
Oh, this is just gross.
Oh, Rek'Sai, though. After she's done with that Scuttle Crab, if Saken is really feeling himself, he could gank. Saken's got to be careful. Punish the Zoe. We hate Zoe.
That we do. Lurox agrees with us, but he's got the GLP now. It's going to be a lot harder to get on top of him. It would have to be a flash on Burrow. You feel, here comes the tunnel. GLP, Odoamne is down on his way as well. Skeanz trying to act as protection. Saken has to flash. Punish the Zoe, Frosk. Operation has been started here by Schalke.
Feel bad for Saken, but feel vindicated that Zoe lost her flash. Serves
She's
her
still
right.
got another heal. She's got her second heal. Just use it. It's fine.
Of course, the issue was that Saken wasn't able to tag the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, which meant that it forced Saken to respawn by burning the flash, because then Lurox was able to just rock up and look for the unburrow.
Yeah, and Lurox going for Hail of Blades as well means that he has a huge amount of damage early on. Get those auto attacks out very quickly. But see how many minions Saken misses here, because I think it's just the one. Now he's back in lane, we'll be able to pick up that cannon. It means he doesn't actually lose out too much, although he is 10 CS down. He's going to pick it. He's picked up a proto belt. It's like in Dota where they have shops near the lanes. He can just get whatever he wants, whatever time he wants. Just pop into a bush, clear a minion.
What I really want is I want an ability to track like how much gold Zoe just gets from like random RNG itemizations, like the damage that the Ignite does, or like the health that she gets back on a random heal, the GLP, things like that. And then just like next to Zoe, you can just see how much free gold from just random, I almost said the wrong word, random stuff that she just gets access to. Can really show how fun the champion is.
We did see Skeanz shadowing his top laner, shadowing Cabochard, making sure Cabo could push in and then back away, not have to burn any summoners because they didn't know where Lurox was on the map. Now, Steelback, level 3 roam. This is, we tend to see this in sports. On your first back, you want to go around mid, make sure you can clear out any vision. Usually this pixel bush, you either put a control ward in there where you make sure that there isn't a control ward there, and getting a ward across here is very good against a Rek'Sai.
Yeah, and it's just really important that you get there first so you can set up a potential trap, which is what Vitality were trying to do. But nicely heads-up played by Schalke. They made sure that they grouped up. They even pulled their ADC before moving into the river in case a trap was being set up and contested the vision.
Yeah, and the timing on the wave meant that Schalke didn't really lose too much by bringing Innaxe across. So this wave is just going to push in, and Innaxe and Dreams will be able to catch it as it bounces towards their tower.
So checking in on Cabochard's Ornn itemization, he's actually going for a very early Bramble Vest.
Yeah.
Normally you would see kind of the Sunfire rush here. Oh, it can build into it, okay. The changes, yes.
Yes.
I was very concerned that it was going to be a Thorn Mail. I have removed my concern. I am pleased with him.
Wait, can it build into it? I may be being silly, but I'm pretty sure Bramble Vest only builds into Thorn Mail.
Double check.
Balmy Cinder. Balmy Cinder builds into
No, I know. Okay, so he is building, not Sunfire.
So
he's pivoted.
Yes, my thought is he gets the Bramble Vest because usually into an Aatrox you get something like an early Executioner's Calling, but that doesn't really make too much sense on Ornn. So he's saying, into Odoamne, I want to make sure I'm not getting too harassed out of lane. He's not healing too much, so I'll grab myself a Bramble Vest, and then after that, hopefully we see the Sunfire Cape. But while we've been chatting, Lurox has decided to take it on himself to pick up the Dragon, and it's a cloud in the pockets of Schalke.
And of course, anytime that you pick up the Drake before the 8-minute mark, it makes that 8-minute Herald swap feel that much better, because then you're not trading anything in return for it. If you try to move resources over to Herald, the enemy team can't change over for a Drake. It's one of the advantages that you get by moving the AD junglers, the Lee Sins, the Rek'Sais, the Jarvans, Ornns.
Neither jungler has been able to get too much done early on in this game. Saken's flash was burnt by a gank from Lurox, who's now hit level 6. He will know there's someone there. Jaws music flashes in. Skeanz gonna jump away and gets the flash off as well, but the chase comes out. Lurox, though, able to get out with a tunnel. What was burnt there? Flash for flash. Skeanz still able to escape.
I mean, I guess it's about proving a point right there. Almost got him.
I do like the...
How many times do you expect that?
Well, just Jaws music, you know? Whenever you see a shark waiting in the wings, Saken now has a redemption, by the way, if we're tracking how many stupidly powerful items he's picked up in the lane. Schalke gonna do that 8-minute swap at 7:53, and as you said, a lot easier to do this when the Dragon has already been taken. You don't lose anything on the other side of the map. Steelback was up by his blue buff. Now he has a flash. Of course, picked that one up from his opposing jungler. And Skeanz had to flash away. But Steelback is up here early. He took the time to get out of lane. Probably lost a little bit of experience on that bottom side, and he will be here to react. Has placed some wards as well around that Rift Herald, so the influence a support has, who can roam early on and who understands this sort of level of the game to get the timers off, can actually have a big impact on a team.
But as we are setting up for this Rift Herald, I do want to take a moment to point towards Cabochard's summoner spells, because he swapped over into the Ignite. So there's an opportunity here that maybe Skeanz plays towards Ornn with the Ignite, and because Odo still has his TP, Schalke are of course going to feel a lot better if they do want to try to kind of overreach for this Herald.
So Skeanz was down by Krugs. I was just trying to track where he was, because I thought if Schalke started it straight away, they wouldn't have had the numbers. Vitality wouldn't react, but he's run straight from Krugs up through his own jungle, and now he's going to see if he can catch out Lurox. Instead goes for the blue, and I think Vitality have given this one up.
I mean, Vitality know that this is happening. You can see that they've pinged it on their map. They're trying to get a better position to walk into it.
4,000 HP. Abbedagge first move from mid lane. Saken jumps forward with the portal jump in the lane, but isn't coming across yet. This is going to go. Oh, they took it down before the eye, but they will still get it. Schalke secure the Rift Herald alongside the first Dragon of the game. Every objective is theirs. All objectives belong to us.
And Schalke also then just had the superior cross-map play, because again, Odo had access to the TP, whereas Cabo is holding on to the Ignite right now. I felt like Cabo was trying to maybe hunt for the Aatrox, maybe try to disrupt that, but it seems like the call across from Vitality is just let it go. There's the Balmy Cinder, so Sunfire is going to come out after the Bramble Vest.
Does delay it just a tad, but shouldn't.
I was like, I'm so used to seeing Sunfire rush at this point.
I guess like into the Aatrox it kind of makes sense. You're just trying to mitigate a little bit more of that healing. Skeanz, they're going to go for this. Sonic Wave lands on Innaxe. He goes all the way in. The kick back can't protect him from that. Death Shard's going to lock him down as well, and Innaxe unable to get away. 2 on the menu as they jump across the wall. It's a double for comp. Great play from Vitality.
And that's even made more impressive in the fact that Skeanz didn't have access to his flash. He had to rely on making the W to the ward jump, and just the raw hand power that that takes right there. Because again, he burned the flash earlier against the Rek'Sai. So beautifully executed here.
That is top-notch.
That is so good. So clean.
And the isolation of Innaxe away from Dreams means that Dreams is never able to put up that Unbreakable to mitigate some of the damage. You can see Innaxe didn't even burn his flash. Realized he was done for. Dreams trying to get away, but once again, Skeanz connected. The killer instinct came out from comp. And Vitality now have a 600 gold lead. And Manamune stacking up on comp. That Kaisa, she is a late-game terror, a nightmare. If she gets ahead, Sleepy Trouble was not going to connect here. Steelback's already used the dredge line, but Vitality getting control over this bot side river with only 30 seconds left on the Dragon.
And we've been talking a lot about Schalke, but now we can kind of put the lens back onto Vitality, and particularly around Skeanz. If you look at Vitality statistically, of course it's going to hurt just because of where they are in the standings of the league, so not a lot of their stats look great, but one of the big takeaways is that nothing happens for this team unless Skeanz is involved. He's essentially everything for this team's early game, so this is already showing great promise if you're a Vitality fan.
In the right place once again here. Jumps onto Lurox, who will just burrow away. The Sleepy Trouble Bubble connected in the mid lane, but Odoamne is roamed down. Abbedagge, oh, that is painful. Painful to watch as Saken just chunks out his health bar. Now, there is an Infernal Dragon here for Vitality. Once again, look at where Steelback is. And I know I'm a support main, so I'm always going to be talking a little bit about Steelback, but the amount of time he spends out of the lane is actually incredible because he's always roaming. He's always looking to team up with Skeanz. And I believe they play together on LDLC in the past, so there is a pre-existing synergy between those two.
That's kind of been the mantra of a lot of the LEC teams for 2020. It's that everyone imported jungle support synergy. Misfits mad.
If it works, we've seen how powerful a good roaming mid-jungle can be. Steelback and Skeanz once again teamed up. Abbedagge, dodges the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, but can still be chased down here.
I don't know, he's playing with fire.
Well, he's trying out those fancy feet. We talked about it. You've got the Siphon Power, you've got the Phase Rush, you've got the move speed to dodge around, Frost.
But the damage has been done, and it was Vitality muscling Schalke out of this bottom river. They got priority over bot lane, they then ran up the runway, they cleared it all out, so now the only play that Schalke have to trade is to force topside.
That's what they're going to do. Cabochard dived underneath the turret, stunned up, and the Chaos Storm will claim another victim. The Infernal Dragon goes down for Vitality, but Schalke were able to make a cross-map play.
Good job from Abbedagge to place the gravity field in the correct spot as Skeanz.
Oh, Moonlight Vigil connects. Long range auto won't be enough. Still gets the stun off. Still back on the chase here, but Skeanz able to escape. Didn't see if the Rift Herald's being used yet. Here it goes. They're looking for those 2 plates first. Make sure you get as many plates down as possible. And then as the Rift Herald charges in fact, they might even get 3 before the Herald charges in. There we go. First tower of the game to Schalke, and with it, 1,500 gold lead.
And while we were kind of getting back onto the side of Vitality as they started to swing back in their favor, we're muscling Schalke out of the bot side. Schalke make the right read, they move up into the top side, and they trade really heavily in their favor by getting the Herald on top of it. And a lot of gold into the pocket of Viktor. He's a champion that has really cost-efficient itemization because of the Hex Core, so anytime that you can kind of springboard this guy ahead, he's got his red Hex Core now, he's going to be hitting much harder.
I did just check, Skeanz and Steelback missed each other on LDLC. Skeanz was playing for Vitality B when Steelback was on LDLC, so apologies for my mistake, guys. I knew they were both in the French League at least, so I got the location correct geographically. I was in the right place, Frost.
Well done.
Thanks. I take whatever victories I can get, and I'm sure Vitality will be of the same mentality coming into this game, 0-8, but 2-1 in terms of kills. They are a little bit behind in terms of gold. However, I do wonder where a lot of that gold is sitting. Odoamne just pinging over to level 11, has about a 16 CS lead. And if we look across, it's actually an 800 gold lead for comp in that bottom lane because of the 2 kills, but 1,000 ahead for Abbedagge in mid.
So let's talk about win conditions right now for both of the teams. Vitality, you can see kind of what they want, which is they're hunting around with Steelback and Saken. They're trying to use their big pieces of CC, so the Sleepy Trouble Bubble and the Nautilus hook or the R, and just fishing around, seeing what connects there, and then hopefully deleting that opponent. So that's kind of their immediate goal right now. Whereas Schalke on the other side, I actually think are in a position where they want to continue to funnel a bit more farm onto Aphelios. So they actually should slow down the game a bit more, get him to his completed item, and then we'll feel more confident.
Skeanz jumping in, Odoamne dashing out. Yeah, we're able to escape now with tower plates down. These towers will fall pretty quickly, especially if you've got a demolished Brook, which they do. Comp comes up, and that tower will fall pretty quickly. But as you can see, you talked about it, Innaxe being funneled gold in the bottom lane, takes out a turret, and it will be 2-1 in favor of Schalke on the tower score. Schalke actually maybe even looking to push in. Lots of pings coming down on that bot lane tier 2. And, well, Schalke don't have to stop. Rift Herald, I think, has been started by Skeanz. He's going to decide on that one instead, but this will be 2 turrets and a lot more gold over to Innaxe.
Yeah, just the raw pushing power and speed of an Aphelios. Again, that's 2 back-to-back kind of cross-map plays where Schalke, in my opinion, have won out pretty heavily. You can see it reflected in the gold. Now, maybe Vitality are able to shore that up when they secure this Rift Herald. Maybe if they get a pick into a Herald, they can try to eat some of that back, but right now, Schalke playing the map a lot cleaner than Vitality.
And you can see Innaxe actually within 300 gold there of comp. He's now finished the Essence Reaver, Hex Core being upgraded by Abbedagge, Black Cleaver the first item for Odo, and Cabochard 1 level away from giving himself a fancy cape of Sunfire. And a Sonic Wave comes in, Abbedagge flashes out. Good escape from the mid laner there from Schalke.
Skeanz is still so clean. Like, yeah, Abbedagge made sure that he got the flash out so the insect didn't come through, but again, that Skeanz doing that without the flash.
He is definitely showing us why his Lee Sin needs to be feared. Saken flashes away, as I believe Dreams flash forward. Lurox actually flashed there as well, so Schalke trying to up the tempo a little bit, maybe just thinking that they caught out Saken. There's a dragon in a minute.
Yeah, they got the back on Innaxe, and so they're feeling much more confident, where you have good power on Abbedagge right now. Aphelios is going to be hitting really hard, so they feel confident to fight for this positioning.
See Steelback trying to face check, but the concussive blows. One more auto will be enough. Goodbye, Steelback, as it gets dunked on by Odoamne. You could see it coming from a mile away, but someone had to face check the bush.
Now, it's still going to be 40 seconds before the dragon is going to spawn, so Steelback will be back up and available onto the map, so there's still the potential that Vitality could fight for this as long as they stagger their backs. But a huge issue right now is the fact that Saken doesn't have a lot of mana left to his name.
Sentry turret comes down, but the call of Portugal's coming in. Sleepy Trouble Bubble, only connected on the back line, and Cabochard decided not to kick the Forge back. Comp has to flash away from the Chaos Storm, and felt a little bit like a hodgepodge of a fight right there.
So, I understand kind of where Vitality are coming from. Saken didn't have a lot of mana. If they wanted to try to contest for this tower and this dragon, they had to kind of find that window, maybe look for a flank. Unfortunately, because the execution didn't work to how they wanted, not only do they lose the tower, but they also lose the dragon. So it's kind of like if you win it, you maybe get 1 step forward, but if you lose, it's 2 steps back. And right now, it's 2 steps back for Vitality.
High risk, low reward play there for Vitality, and the Ocean Dragon starting to stack up on Schalke. That's their first, but I think most people would agree that the Ocean Soul is probably the strongest of the Dragon Souls right now, so if they can continue to stack those up, it will be very hard to kill them. And, we'll see if Vitality have an answer to it, because that gold lead continues to extend here, Frosk. It's 4,000 the lead now for Schalke. They have come out pretty well so far this game. Vitality, I thought perhaps they were changing their game plan a little bit. It looked like Comp was the target for Skeanz to play around, and he did get 2 kills early on, but Skeanz, although he's playing very well, hasn't found the connections on any more kills.
Yeah, but we'll see if they connect on anything in this Herald, because this is the big play that Vitality really need to swing back with this. I think they're just going to get a charge, and that's it.
Doesn't kill it. Saken Skeanz teaming up. They're jumping onto Odo, knocking down below half, but of course the Aatrox can't heal up. They are putting Cabochard down towards this bottom lane. He's stuck there. They will be able to push in towards the turret. Odo having to back, of course, because he took a chunk of damage. They can try to get damage on Lurox, but tower doesn't quite fall as Odo rotates, Cabochard rotates across.
So this is kind of the perfect situation for Vitality. When the map feels like it's kind of at a stalemate and you just get multiple rotations of Saken fishing with these bubbles, fishing with the CC, then over time you can see that the tower is falling down even to the likes of an Ornn as opposed to something like a Fiora. And so at this point in the game, that's what you're looking for if you're a Vitality fan. You kind of want that that stalemate where everyone's just looking at each other, comps eating up a bunch of CS, and hopefully Cabo is getting something done onto a side lane. Whereas for Schalke, you're really looking for these flanking plays.
Abbedagge is going to be able to push in this top lane tier 2. Lurox is there as a bodyguard, as a bouncer. Call of the Forge God coming out. Abbedagge able to use his fancy feet to step aside. And, oh, Steelback's chasing in. Death Charge coming out. They don't know. They don't know that Rek'Sai's there. The Chaos Storm forces them away. Steelback has to burn his flash, and Abbedagge burns nothing at all.
Pretty big cooldowns, not just the flash, but also the Death Charge there from Steelback. We'll see how confident Schalke are feeling while that cooldown is coming back up, if maybe they want to fish for a skirmish or fish for a fight. I think they're going to use it for reset timers, though.
Now, I'm having a little bit of an internal debate here, Froskurinn, because when I see an Ornn, I always think you need to get Ornn items, right? Your team should be building around you, trying to get that extra gold in your back pockets, but Ludens can be upgraded. It's not the most efficient Ornn upgrade for Saken. Maybe he'll go Death Cap next. Ginsu's and Manamune, neither of them are upgradable. Gargo's Stoneplate definitely isn't upgradable, and there's no Black Cleaver on Skeanz either. So there is going to be a while here, while Vitality are basically leaving gold on the table.
I think it's obviously never great when you don't maximize a champion's kit, and a lot of times you'll see compositions put together where the itemization isn't as available for Ornn. But I also feel that kind of like all of the utility that Ornn provides, it's still like not necessarily a bad situation.
Oh, it's still fine, right? Ornn is still a great champion. It's just like, can we pump everything we can out of this champ? Because that's what wins you games at the highest level.
At this point, I just want to make sure that people have, what is it? You have to have it in the first slot so you don't accidentally get a Ludens upgrade over a Death Cap.
That's my slight concern with Saken. He's got the Ludens right now. I believe he'll go to Death Cap next.
Do we know if the Spectator client...
I know. So Spectator client shows us most expensive to least expensive.
Exactly. So you can't actually see the... Oh, no.
So that
okay, yeah, but it's fine because he doesn't have the Death Cap.
That's not a mistake. That's a choice. That is a choice. Whether it's the most effective choice is a debate for people.
It's literally his only choice.
Yeah, but maybe he could wait. Don't have to use them.
Why not?
Well, because he can't upgrade a Death Cap if he gets it now.
We don't know if he'll build it.
That's true. That's true. And that's why we'll wait for the game to show us, Froskurinn. A journey of discovery for us. 5,000 gold still the lead here for Schalke. He's definitely going to build it. He's got 2 Death Caps, Frosk. But maybe, if before he gets that Death Cap, Vitality have a fight. I mean, there's a minute on the Ocean Drake. Maybe they're looking for that. Maybe they're looking for a bit of a Barney. But Schalke getting vision control around the Baron. Don't need to start it up. We have, last week, we saw G2 sneak a 2-man Baron. When you have Calibrum, when you have Severum, when you have Crescendum, the Chakrams, and do it very quickly. White and red, as you say. This is the good thing with Zoe, though. It's very easy to base check from range, because you just chuck a bubble through the wall, and if it hits someone, you know they're there. And if it doesn't, they're not there.
It's still a little bit scary, however, for Vitality, because they are losing control over their side lanes. You can see across the map from Schalke that they've got both bot and top pushing in. So I don't think that Schalke feel any sort of pressure, even though, yeah, Vitality can technically check around the Baron pit with the Zoe, and they're going to have to check around the Dragon pit, as that's also spawning.
As you say, Ocean Dragon does come up. We'll see if Vitality decide to fight over it. Of course, it's not soul point. It's not game ending, but Schalke continue just to eat the life out of Vitality here. 5,000 gold their lead.
Vitality were too slow on this decision here. They started immediately pinging towards the Baron, and you'll see a lot of teams try to trade 4th Dragon for something like the Baron, but they lost positioning on Baron, and they've lost positioning on this mid wave as well.
Yeah, let's see if they're able to play around their side lanes a little bit better. Now that Cabochard has rotated through, cycled through the Unsealed Spellbook to get himself back a teleport, maybe it'll be a little bit easier for them. Because when you don't have the ability to join a fight from a side lane, it actually becomes very difficult for your team to play and answer the pressure that Odoamne has been putting on this Aatrox. But a few minutes ago, well, probably about 10 minutes ago now, we talked about how Vitality wanted to get picks. They were searching for them, and Schalke were very happy just to continue to scale up, continue to play the side lanes, and that seems to be the way the game's gone. Vitality didn't really find the picks they wanted. They only got those 2 kills on comp in the top lane a long time ago now, and since then, Schalke have just been able to keep them at arm's reach and basically deny them most of the map.
It just feels that we're in a situation where Schalke have just been farming pretty safely,
Yeah.
and they're not feeling pressure to make any sort of rash decision right now. It feels like a very calm and slow-paced game, whereas I feel like Vitality have been a bit more attempted proactivity and kind of peeking their head around, but the execution has been off.
Well, Vitality attempted proactivity, or just proactivity itself as they start up the Baron. 25 minutes in, Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands, but that's only onto Dreams, not really the target you wanted. Saken has a Proto Belt, and as the wards come in, Vitality get out.
I feel like we're getting a little bit desperate here for Vitality. Instead of playing the pick game, we're just trying to force Baron to get Schalke to respond to you.
This is their opportunity to get their first win of the split. A lot of people wondered if this would be a 0-8 versus 0-8 clash. Of course, Schalke with a good performance versus G2 last week made that not the case. But here, once again, they're having a very strong performance. Yes, it's against the bottom team in the league, but they are still playing to their win conditions, scaling up effectively. And they were able to play around the fact that Skeanz actually had a pretty impeccable early game on the Lee Sin. Saken tagged with Winter's Bite. There's a flank position for Odoamne if he wants. Sleepy Trouble Bubble's going to land. Saken going forward. Comp jumps in, but Lurox wasn't pinged. And here comes the Moonlight Vigil from range. Call of the Forge God comes out. Vitality trying to disengage, but in goes Steelback with the depth charge. Cabochard on the front line as well as the damage comes out. Steelback goes down first. Comp has to flash away, but the crescendo, the chase, Void Rush to the face. That's another. He dies for it. How cool did that look? Abbedagge takes one as well. It's a double for him. 3 for 1 in favor of Schalke.
Now, the saving grace for Vitality fans is that they did manage to kill the Rek'Sai, diving too deep underneath the tower, so there's no smite. So I don't think that Schalke are then going to immediately turn towards the Baron and try to burn that. So Vitality have at least drawn the game out that they're going to get another look at this team fight.
I think if Comp hadn't used Killer Instinct so early to try and catch out Lurox, that could have been a very different fight. Because there was a few moments when Schalke were all clustered up in a huddle, and a Kaisa could have done a lot of work in there.
I think it was really good zoning. I want to get another look at the team fight where they couldn't get past Abbedagge's damage. And also someone flashed in front of Aphelios, and then Aphelios just got nailed by Nautilus. So let's keep our eyes about what happens here.
I really think they expecting this paddle star to hit. It doesn't because it hits Dreams, and so Lurox survives.
Then the Ornn ult comes across multiple members, and then here comes Steelback, who flashes. It's the Rek'Sai flashes, and Steelback ends up directly on top of Aphelios. He then gets a really great ultimate, but again, there's no follow-up damage to a lot of the CC that Steelback is setting up for his team, because the gravity field, as well as the Viktor ultimate, and then Odoamne on top of it, is zoning away the rest of Vitality. Rek'Sai then overreaches a little bit, did look cool, but unfortunately because Rek'Sai dies there, you can't then immediately pivot into that Baron.
You can see a lot of that sitting on Abbedagge's shoulders alongside Innaxe, hit that long-range Moonlight Vigil, so did a huge amount of work. Cabochard now on Smite instead of Teleport means that he'll be joining up with his team a little bit more. In Vitality, they know 30 seconds before they've got to fight, before they've got to do something, because otherwise they lose the Ocean Soul. That'll be very difficult to play around. Next upgraded Ornn item is the Obsidian Cleaver for Skeanz. Still nothing on Comp. Still only that Ludens on Saken. Of course, you can only upgrade one. But I think the way the game played out, perhaps the Rabadons would have been a better choice. Now, Vitality pushing in mid. Schalke posturing, setting up around the Ocean Dragon. Saken here, Steelback looking for the flank, but he's spotted on a ward. Now the Dragon's going to respawn in just a second's time. The waves are pushed in. The Vitality, you're losing minions to your base. You're losing damage on your turrets. Odoamne locked up and is able to escape. The depth charge has already been used. Now Cabochard has the call of the Forge God. Moonlight Vigil only hits one. No, hits two. Comp was rooted by it as well, but already the Ocean Dragon's going to fall before they can even get in. Skeanz not there in time. Vitality could not find an avenue to approach the fight.
I mean, frankly, it feels like this has been a battle of a poke for a lot of these team fights. They're kind of in the initial posturing when they're looking at each other. And it's like Saken versus Abbedagge. And it feels like Abbedagge is actually winning in a lot of these poke matchups.
Well, you know what's very difficult to poke into, Froskurinn? Ocean Soul. All that healing, all that mana regeneration makes it so hard now for Vitality to find the fights they want. They want to poke people down, then they want Skeanz jumping in, then they want Comp jumping in. But Schalke upping the tempo. They found their mark, they found their rhythm. They're going for the Baron. Steelback is here. Skeanz is in the mid lane, nowhere near it already. 9,000 HP left on the Baron. Steelback steps forward into the face of a Glacial Fissure. Gravity Field will keep them back. How much health is on that Baron? It's 2,000. Cabochard coming in, looking for him, but can't get it. Lurox secures it, and now Vitality are fighting for their lives. Not just fighting for this fight, but fighting for the game. Abbedagge's got one, Odoamne jumping forward. The damage is unreal. Skeanz has to flash away, but Lurox is still on the chase. Vitality just running for their lives, and Schalke take two, take the Baron, take the Soul, they take everything.
That damage was disgusting from Odo and Rek'Sai there at the end of that fight. And like you said, it felt like that was probably going to be the game-deciding fight. Yeah, Vitality get out with their lives, maybe with their combined wave clear, they can hold on for another fight in that, but Schalke have been firmly in control of this game for kind of the past 10 minutes.
Yep. 10,000 gold lead for them now as well. Hasn't really been much Vitality could do about this. Two inhibitor turrets to target here. As top fours mid, perhaps going to follow shortly after.
And it feels like one of the issues is that Schalke were just using their side lane gold so much more effectively. And you can see that really in the experience disparity between their top laners. Odoamne level 17 to Cabochard's level 15. This was shaking hands with Vitality, where Schalke were just getting more bang for their buck across the map. Vitality had too many carries, constantly sharing EXP.
There goes Skeanz, Abbedagge knocked back, but they can't find the connection as Steelback is zoned out. Abbedagge goes unstoppable as he just shreds through comp, and now the chase is on. Odoamne, you can't do much against the world ender, my friend. Odo takes out Steelback. It's a double for Abbedagge, and now the Nexus towers will be felled. Razed to the ground, Schalke look pretty unstoppable in this game. Lurox fighting against Saken is put to sleep. Innaxe flashing forward. Saken trying to get away. They know they've won the game. They know it's done. They get the ace. The Nexus falls, and Schalke on a 2-game winning spree.
Much cleaner map play from Schalke. Vitality had a couple of good hits in the early game, but it felt like Schalke were constantly ahead of them on the rotation. They beat them in the tower game. The EXP difference really came to a head. Again, we said Odo level 17 to Cabo's level 15. Vitality were splitting waves in between their ADC and their mid laner, constantly in the same position. Part of that is that they had a champion like Zoe, who's a bit more fragile, not as flexible. When you put her out into a side lane versus a Viktor who can feel more confident to go out there.
Definitely the case, Voska. Schalke, as you say, very much in control of the game. Vitality, there were some signs of life, there were some good things. Skeanz had a pretty good early game.
Skeanz had a great Lee Sin in terms of his mechanics. There were some really clean plays there.
Definitely were. I did have a celebration for Odoamne. If he died 8 times, he would have hit 800 career deaths. But he didn't die at all. So we're going to have to wait on that one. We'll keep the party hat somewhere for you, Odo.
I do want to say that we kind of talked about this at the very beginning of the series. You know, what a mental reset it can be to take down a team like G2, because it kind of reminds you that you are capable of doing anything, and really the only direction Schalke had was up at this point. And even, it doesn't matter who you change in, but when you do add in new voices, it just completely changes the dynamic of the team. And I do think that you are starting to see some of those fingerprints of this, and it feels a lot better and it looks a lot better if you're a Schalke fan at the performance that you saw this time around.